Unafraid Show. Right or wrong, it's your boy, George Reister in the building. Thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate your time, appreciate your energy. And per the usual, go visit unafraidshow.com. We got a lot of great articles up. And you probably, if you're like my wife, you're probably a little bit excited. I cut off the beard. So yeah, so that's where we're at right now. We got a bunch of great things up for you guys today. 3 great topics. Number 1, the college football rankings, they suck. Been on it for a while, and I'm going to break down how the AP poll is just so inaccurate. It is biased. It is just a shame. And I'm proving it from the preseason poll all the way back to the to this last poll, the last AP poll. Also, Florida man. You've heard of Florida man. You hear of him all the time. We're going to talk about him. And then Eric Reid, failed drug test. Did he lie is the question. Did he lie? So we're going to break all that down. You guys make sure you swipe up, share the feed, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. So we're going to start real quick before we even get into it because I don't want to forget it about Florida man. And Florida man starts with Tyler Trent. Because if you guys remember, he's the kid. He is the big Purdue fan. He just died. He had cancer. I mean, this was just a heartwarming story that would just bring you to tears. Like, just an amazing story. And here was the headline I read yesterday. Florida man arrested for posting threats against the Trent family. He posted threats against their vigil that they were having for him and all of that. This is a kid who's standing up to cancer, who's literally who was on his deathbed for the last couple years. And you're going to make threats against his family? Only person that can do that is Florida man. And then, and if you don't know who Florida man is, I've been saying it. He is an evil spirit. Like, everybody tries to act like that this is normal behavior out of Florida man. It's not. You don't hear these headlines from any other state except for Florida. And now he's attacking a Purdue fan. A Florida man says syringes found in his rectum aren't his. Only place you'll hear that, Florida. Florida man crashes into a wall at 116 miles an hour and kills passengers, whose father then goes to sue Tesla for making an unreasonably dangerous car. Florida man. Like, this is what Florida man does. Florida man. Florida man can also be a woman. Florida woman revenge smears poop at birthday party. Like, these are the kind of things that Florida man does. Like, so be careful when you go down to Florida. Evil spirits are amongst us. Now I want to get to the college football playoff rankings. Not just the ones that the committee puts out, but the actual AP poll rankings. Now, I know because this is college football, we base every single thing that we do on rankings. Every single thing. Whether it's the AP poll, coaches poll, even the football playoff committee is a poll/ranking. So with that said, the polls and everything should be accurate and unbiased. Well, they are not. We're going to take a look and examine some of these things. You guys, make sure you guys send in your comments, and I will get to them per usual. So the first thing that I want to start with is I have a whole list, page of notes and all this, and then on my computer as well. So when you look at the thing that caught my attention initially was Georgia being ranked above Texas. Like, that was the thing that caught my attention initially, because I couldn't believe it. I was like, hold up. How in the hell is Georgia, who just lost to Texas, got beat up by Texas, still ranked ahead of Texas? Texas is 10-4. Georgia's 11-3. And I want to really examine this, because everybody's on this Georgia kick. Because, yes, Georgia is a fantastically talented football team. However, when you look, they lost their 3 most important football games. LSU, Alabama, and Texas. And they weren't close in any of them. So how is this a team that either should have been in the playoff or anything like that? And now they finished the rankings at the end of the year tied for 7 with Florida. Excuse me? Your last game, you just lost to Texas pretty badly. You lost your last 2 games. Yeah, okay. That doesn't make sense. Like, we keep trying to rank teams based upon talent as opposed to actual achievement. And the other part with Georgia that I want to talk about is when you look at their schedule, they had 2 teams finished with top 25, in the top 25. And that's Kentucky and Florida. 2 teams that they beat finished in the top 25. Okay, why is that important? Because now I want to go to LSU. LSU, who was ranked super high all year. Ed Orgeron's doing a great job down there. However, been finishing number 6 in the country at 10-3. Okay, let's examine this. LSU. This is why LSU is a prime example why preseason rankings need to go away, why they need to be abolished, why they need to be done with. They influence the public, the perception amongst the public. They influence voters, and it creates a bias. So let's point this out. LSU got a lot of credit this year. They were a decent football team, but they get credit for top 10 wins. Okay, they had top 10 wins. Their top 10 wins were Miami and Auburn in the beginning of the year until they played Georgia. Miami and Auburn. Okay, where did Miami finish? Not in the top 25. Where did Auburn finish? Not in the top 25. Okay, so why do you get so much credit for those wins? And then that artificially pushes them up the rankings. They also beat Mississippi. They're another good win. Mississippi State didn't finish in the top 25. And then they also lost to Florida, Bama, and Texas A&M. This is where we're talking. The SEC only gets judged against themselves, and that's why the AP poll initial rankings don't work. Preseason rankings need to go away. Because when you look at the preseason poll, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams out of the top 25 did not finish in the top 25, including number 4, Wisconsin, number 8, Miami, number 9, Auburn, number 11, Michigan, number 13, Stanford, number 15, USC, number 16, TCU, number 18, Mississippi State, number 19, Florida State, number 20, Virginia Tech, and number 24, Oregon. So if your preseason poll is so inaccurate, why do you make one? Why do you make one? Because it only goes to skew the data at the end of the season. The data can then be manipulated when preseason rankings exist. Let's look at some of the other teams that we'll go to the teams that finished close or even relatively close to where they were ranked in the preseason, because we have to be fair. Clemson started out as number 2, finished number 1. Bama started out as number 1, finished number 2. Oklahoma started out as 7, finished 4. Notre Dame, 12, finished 5. They were spot on with Michigan at 14. Washington, 6, finished 13th. Boise State was about where they were ranked, and so was West Virginia. But then you also get Washington State, who was unranked. Florida and Kentucky were unranked coming into the season, and they finished ranked. Okay, so what do we make of that? So let's look at these schedules, because I want to point out how the AP poll manipulates the end of the season rankings and the college football playoff rankings. Because the committee has already said that the AP poll rankings they say they're not a starting point, but they're kind of a starting point for people in their minds where they believe that teams are. So we already went over Georgia and LSU. And why I have no idea on earth why Texas would be behind Georgia, which makes no sense. Besides the fact that people really, really want to believe that Georgia is a great football team. But they weren't a great football team. They were a very talented football team. which is a complete difference. There's a difference between talent and achievement. Some people are extremely talented, but they don't achieve what they need to achieve. Because Georgia's best win was what? I mean, they lost the 3 most important games. So how are they that good? I'm just saying. Talented, yes. Good, no. So we went over Georgia and LSU. Now I want to talk about Notre Dame, who people just try to just demolish and talk trash about. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs and all of this. And then Alabama goes to go get drowned. Notre Dame, their best wins: Michigan, Syracuse, and Northwestern. So they finished beating 3 teams that finished in the top 25. And then they lost to Clemson in the playoff by 27. Oklahoma, they beat Texas and West Virginia, who finished in the top 25. Ohio State, they beat Washington, Penn State, Michigan, and Northwestern. They beat 4 teams who finished in the top 25. 4. Okay. So why? And then Ohio State finishes 3rd, but people were consistently saying they didn't belong in the playoff. So they didn't belong in the playoff, but Georgia did? Yeah, how about no? Texas beat Georgia and Oklahoma. Texas A&M, their best win was Kentucky. They lost to Clemson, Auburn, and Ole Miss. And Mississippi State. Then Kentucky, their best wins, Florida, and then their bowl game against Penn State. They lost to Texas A&M, Georgia, and Tennessee. So the whole point of this is when we get to talking about strength of conferences, this is why non-conference games matter so much. Because in the SEC, you aside from Auburn beating Washington, where do you have any good non-conference victories? None, really. But what do? You go into conference, you play 8 conference games, schedule gets manipulated, and then those preseason rankings, a team like Miami, team like Auburn, who's ranked very highly during the preseason, then they come in and get beat by a team, and then all of a sudden this team starts marching up the rankings. This is the way this works. And this is why college football, if you want to have an equitable system where the 4 best teams get in the playoffs, the 4 best and the 4 most deserving teams get in the playoffs, you have to do away with the preseason rankings. Because it causes too much bias. Imagine coming in with a blank slate. That would encourage people to schedule better week 1 and schedule better in the beginning of the season, better in terms of name brands. Things that voters and people recognize. So if you do that, then, and if there's no preseason rankings, then you start to generate data and then have rankings after week 2 or week 3. That data starts getting generated. Now you can make an informed poll based upon what you've seen. Because what is the movement that we see in the AP poll? It's based upon wins and losses, not about who you played. So a team if you have a team from a Power 5 conference that is 7-0, they could be ranked they're going to be ranked higher than a team that's 6-1 or 5-2, even if the 7-0 team had played nobody. Like, for instance, prime example, a team like Colorado. Colorado won their first 5 games. They started out 5-0. Ended up in the middle of end up ranked 13th, 14th in the nation. Then they lose. Same thing with Auburn. Makes no sense. See, I'm out here making too much sense, and that confuses people. It makes people uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, can anybody come up with a rational reason, like an intelligent reason, why preseason rankings or how preseason rankings help the sport at all? You can't, because it doesn't happen. You have teams. So when Michigan beats Wisconsin, or Ohio State beats Wisconsin, Auburn beats Miami, Stanford gets beat by Notre Dame, USC loses to Texas, TCU gets beat by Ohio State, Mississippi State gets beat by Alabama, Florida State gets beat by Florida, Virginia Tech gets beat by everybody this last year, and then you have Oregon beat by Washington. These type of things manipulate the schedules. And that's why we have to stop with the preseason polls. And that would eliminate so many times where people say, oh, these aren't the 4 best teams. These are the 4 most deserving teams. If you eliminate the preseason rankings, you will fix that problem. You will know. And then also, you have to find a way to make teams schedule better, and eliminating the preseason poll will do just that. Oh, and then also I want to talk about the national championship ever so slightly, and the bowl rankings. I'm sorry, the college bowl finishes. Because all we heard all year, SEC's the best, head and shoulders above everybody else. My question, why didn't it show up in the bowl games? Why didn't it show up in the bowl games? Because the SEC finished 6-6. Why didn't it show up? Why didn't they just blow the doors off everybody like they would tell you? Because it's just like I told you, the schedule gets manipulated by these preseason rankings, and then they think they're better. Because truth be told, the ACC had a better time. They finished 6-5. Better winning percentage. Big Ten, 5-4. You have the Pac-12 finished 3-4. The Big 12, 4-3. Big Ten, 5-4. So that's what you got out of the Power 5 conferences. So how can you tell me that? So how can you tell me that one conference is head and shoulders above another? Well, who won out of those? The losses for the SEC. Vandy, South Carolina, who people try to give a quality win for. Missouri, Mississippi State, Georgia, Alabama. That's who lost. Who won? Auburn, Florida, Alabama once, Kentucky, LSU, and Texas A&M. Now, let's see. I mean, it only makes sense. The teams in the conferences, some of their best teams win, some of their best teams lose. And that's why I don't give one conference like I don't give them cachet above anybody else. You can't do that. If you take out Clemson and Alabama, who are head and shoulders above everybody else in college football right now, head and shoulders above Georgia, above Notre Dame, above Ohio State, above everybody in terms of excellence. If you take them out, every other conference is equal. You got some dogs at the top who are tough to beat and are tough to contend with. But the right team on the right day, and they'll get their ass whooped too. Like Ohio State lost to Purdue with the Tyler Trent kid. Emotional game. That can get you. Oregon goes up to Washington State. Emotional game. First time College Game Day has been up there. That'll get you. That's why the AP poll has to do away with the preseason poll if you want to actually get the 4 best teams in college football. The last thing I want to talk about today on the Unafraid Show, you guys make sure you guys send in your comments. I will get to them per usual. Is I wanted to talk about the Eric Reid situation. Eric Reid and these drug tests. So a lot of people have been talking about this today, a lot of buzz about this. Did Eric Reid, and the biggest question is, did Eric Reid actually get tested as many times as he said he was? as he said he did, because Ian Rappaport put out a tweet that was very misleading, inferring that that Eric Reid lied, that he didn't get tested 7 times in 11 weeks. Let me break this down for you. Here is how the NFL works. The NFL has 2 types of testing. There is testing for drugs of abuse like weed and all of that, which is your annual test. Happens once a year. Okay? Happens once a year. Here is the second thing. Here is the second thing that's going on. Is you also have those random tests that are computer generated. Here's the facts. There are always crazy conspiracy theories floating around the locker room. Always. Oh, I got tested. The coach wanted me tested, this and that. Because what you can test for positive for after the game, steroids, cocaine, ecstasy, like any uppers, like no downers, like weed, you're not testing for, you won't test positive for after the games. So the question is this really random? 7 times in 11 weeks? So here is where the misstatement or the misleading tweet from Ian Rappaport comes along. So Eric Reid did get tested 7 times apparently. This is what we've seen. This is what we've heard. All this. He did get tested 7 times. However, 7 times was not part of the random test. There were actually 6 random tests plus the annual, which makes 7 times. So he did get tested 7 times. However, whether his counting and math turned into that all of those were random, don't know. But is the number accurate? Yes. So let's not try to make Eric Reid out into a liar. Facts are facts. Facts are the facts. Now, would the NFL, while they're in the middle of a collusion lawsuit with him, with Eric Reid, and with Colin Kaepernick, jeopardize their situation and make him, and test him this many times and do that? Let's think about this. Because what does the testing actually do? Testing takes 5 minutes maybe, pee in a cup, that's it. It doesn't really fall under the line of harassment because you don't really have to drive to work. You're already there. It's not as cumbersome as it sounds. It's annoying, but it's not where we're not bordering on the line of harassment. And if you're not taking anything, you're fine. But at the same time, is this really random? Here's what I know. Here's what I know and what I see. In the absence of information, people can make assumptions. And when there's circumstantial evidence, people form conspiracy theories. So is it mathematically possible that his name came up 6 times in 11 weeks? Yeah. Is it possible that this computer, who men control, could have been manipulated in some way? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Do I put that out of the realm of possibility? No. But here's the thing that you have to know is that if you are going to stand up like Eric Reid has, be blackballed for a little while, Carolina Panthers get a new owner, Jake Tapper, and he gives him a chance. The new Carolina Panthers owner, he gives him a shot. Okay, so is that being so he was already blackballed. So what does that actually translate into in terms of him being tested? Is it real? Is it fake? All of that. You had to know, Eric Reid, that they were going to do something to bother you. You had to. The penalty where you got threw out of the game, Yeah, it probably exacerbated it that it was you. But it was a suspect penalty too, and they're doing this player safety thing. So you can't give them a reason. That's the thing you have to know. You cannot give them a reason. I always say this. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like black people and the police. Do black people get pulled? Do black men especially get pulled over significantly more than white men? 100%. That is a fact. However, there are some times where people are doing things or suspect things that add to the likelihood that you will be stopped. If you are bumping your music loud enough to be heard in houses, is that your right? Yeah. But is it going to draw a little extra attention to yourself? Yeah. If a police officer who does that already, is he going to be more likely to pull you over and have an incident? Yeah. Same way here. He brought a lot of attention to himself. Eric Reid did, standing up for a great cause that I believe in. But do you have to know that there will be a little bit of brushback and blowback? Yep. Yes, you do. So don't do anything to bring extra attention to yourself. And that's what Eric Reid did when he hit the quarterback that day and got through out of the game. This is just a fact, man. I didn't make up the rules. These are just rules of life. This is not rule of black men. This is rules of life. If I get caught, if I get arrested for shoplifting, and then I get a second chance to go back to work, second chance at life, whatever it is, I don't have room to be getting arrested for anything else. I can't then be smoking weed in a state that is not legal. I can't then be doing things that would that increase my chance and my potential for something bad happening. Come on, man. Bring it on in. You know I'm telling the truth. You guys, thank you guys for watching the Unafraid show today. Let me check out your comments. And if you have anything, I will get to it. If not, I will catch you guys later on this week. Oh, somebody commented on the on the YouTube channel that his name is R. Kelly. He said, "Keep my name out your mouth." Oh, because I talked about R. Kelly as a pedophile and all these things. Anyways, I don't care. Come holla at me, R. Kelly. I got these hands for you. All right, peace out. Catch you guys later.